So we're going to play around with and get to know reading A to Z. I am Susanna Bishop. I am all over the place normally, and now I am coming to you from my cave in the auditorium at the high school. All right, so our norms for today are, of course, be present. It'll be easy since this is like a personalized one-on-one session. Try everything, especially while I'm here. I really do like this program. So I really am happy to help you try it out. Ask questions. Please don't hesitate to stop me, or if I go too fast through something, please say, "Hey, stop, show me again." I really don't mind at all. And of course, have fun. This can be a really cool resource to add into your practice, especially with this hybrid teaching of trying to run reading groups and with kids and things like that. Like, this will definitely kind of give you some more tools to use with that, so that you are able to meet your kids' needs, because it's so hard right now, and it's so hard to get them books and materials. So this is going to be a way to kind of help with that. Our time together. Oh, hello, Deborah. And it looks like
Hello.
I'm so glad you're here. We are just getting started. Hi, Linda. So our time together today, we were just going over our norms. Please be willing to play around. We're going to be in reading A to Z together. We're going to be doing things, looking at things, especially for you guys who are reading specialists. I'm going to show you how you can add your students who are in another homeroom, which will be very beneficial to you, so that you can give them books and things to read and listen to them read, even when you can't physically be with them. So our time together, we are going to look at how you log in. If you are a classroom teacher, it is a little bit different than if you are a reading specialist. Class rosters, we're going to look at creating groups and sharing in students. We're going to look at viewing and setting student levels in the reading room and in the level up section. We're going to look at ways you can find all the different resources that are available. There are virtual resources, there are physical resources. There are so many resources in this program you can't imagine. We're going to look at how you assign work to students and how that can be work that, like, your kids physically hold and read, and you can capture what they're doing, as well as working virtually. We're going to look at how you can do running records with your kids, even if they are not in person. And they can actually do them on their own. You don't need to be present. Obviously, the first few times you do that to train them, you want to be with them. But that is something that once they know how to do that, you can assign that running record and you can grab that from them without them having to be like at the same time. So especially like if you've got virtual kids, that's going to help. Hi, Kimberly. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to look at what it looks like from a student perspective. I actually have set up a test account for me to just see what my kids see. And then we're going to look in and talk about some ways we think we can use it as a hybrid model. And for those that just came, I was telling Patrice and Barbie, I actually work with a group of first graders and a kindergartner every day doing reading enrichment. So this is something that we have been using in our resources in practice. So I've been using this with the littles. So I know if they can get it, everyone else will too. Like, it's been really, once we got through it and we did a lot of screen sharing where they would share their screen and I would talk them through it. When they saw their friends do it, it was easy peasy. So that is our time together. So I hope you do have another device, or you can navigate on your device, because I want us to practice and do this. You're going to have the opportunity to do this. So first things first is logging in. Our classroom teachers, if you have a homeroom, you will just go to Clever as always. So you can use that HPS staff, or however you get to Clever, that clever.com/inhopewell. And when you click on this icon, the robot, I think it says Learning A to Z. They call themselves all sorts of different things. When we actually get in, you'll see they have like 12 different names for all their products. It is that little icon with the robot. That's what I just tell them. Find the orange square with the robot. They know what to look for. You as a classroom teacher, oh my gosh, Patrice, before you go, we're gonna have to talk about that thing that you had for your mask. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that. Okay, don't let me forget because I've been looking for those. um, they don't need, and you as a classroom teacher, you just need to click clever and you'll be automatically taken to where you are. Reading specialists and and I'm not a reading specialist, but for my account, I actually have to log in with that information that Paula sent when we were given our accounts because we are not rostered through the district. We have our own separate login. But you're still connected, so you're going to be able to pull your kids that you need to meet with. So my username is like S Bishop and some numbers and some weird combination of letters. So it's probably in your email if you don't have access to it, like if you don't know it and use it all the time, it's probably in your email because that's where mine was. And if you don't have, if you can't find that, Paula can definitely help you get that I think she's out for the rest of this week, but when she returns, because she has all of that information and she set that up. So easy peasy for classroom teachers and kiddos, they just go to Clever and they click that button. Students don't even have to, the way I'm going to show you when I show the sample, they don't even have to find their name from a list or anything. It just automatically takes them to their reading room, which is super awesome. All right. So the first thing we're going to take a look at, and in just a second, we're going to actually pop over to my reading A to Z, is the class roster. And this is the place where you see all of your students and where you can turn on the incentives. I do recommend once they find where the incentives are, and I'll show you, only turn that on at certain times, like on Fridays or a time, because they will just spend all of their time doing incentives and not actually reading books to get the stars. Just a little like tip that we found out. And then this is where you can share in students. So if you're like me and you don't have a classroom of students, but you work with kids, you can share in and pull from all of the kids that have been rostered in the district. So we'll look at that too. So let us head in to my reading A to Z. And I'm going to go to my classroom right here. So when you first log in, you are going to see your classroom. So this is my little class roster here. I'm going to click the full on classroom. Oh, and it signed me out. So let me sign back in. I've been flipping back and forth between my account and the student account. So let me just sign back in. All right, so here's my classroom roster. You're going to notice a couple of things here. I have my assignments and my in basket, and even though I hate seeing like little numbers like that, I left that here for you guys. So you guys would get a chance to see my kids have some running records that we've done in the last week. And I wanted you guys to be able to hear that and see some examples of that. So you have the option of your classroom. These are all of the students that I have pulled over from the district. If you are a classroom teacher, you're going to see your entire class right now. Most of them don't have passwords. They don't need them because it's rostered. Caden, for some reason, does, but he doesn't ever have to sign in with it, and I've never told it to him. So all of our kids that are already in our system, and you should not have to create an account for any child. I did do this tester account for me because I wanted to know what it looked like for kids. So other than doing something like that, you should not need to do that for anyone. So managing your classrooms here, you can have like little small groups, which is really helpful, and we'll talk about that. What we would be using, whether you are collaborating with another teacher, you won't need to create where it says add students. You won't need to ever create your own. But we would, within Hopewell, share in students. So say you get classes, you pull kids for a small group reading. You could share in those kids and make a group just for them and put all of the kids in one class, but put them in their own individual subgroup. And we'll talk about that in just a second. Say you are co-teaching with another classroom, and this happens more at like 4th and 5th grade, where one teacher does reading, the other teacher does math. You might need to pull in those kids as well. Or maybe one student comes to your room for another higher, to get a different instruction, you could pull them in this way. So all you have to do for the share in, and that's pulling from our roster, is to type in their name and their, I think that's how you spell her name. It is not. So if I were to go to Harefield, and search, of course this is being stinky. Oh, I know who I can pull. Oh, what's his name? Miss Steed, why don't give me one of your kids' names? You're muted, Barbie.
Noah Clayton.
So Noah.
C-L-A. No, it's C-L-A-X-T-O-N. Claxton, excuse me. It's Claxton.
Kindergarten for me, Miss Gallant.
Noah Claxton.
Mr. Ponder, can you please go to room?
What is going on?
Your intercession supply.
Oh, okay. I got to pick the school. Don't mind me. There we go. So I've found Noah's name. Make sure you pick the school you want to pull from, not the district. And then you can just click that plus sign to add that student to your roster if you are pulling from another group. Classroom teachers, yours automatically update as kids get added to your classroom or move. So that is a very helpful thing. You won't need to worry about transferring or restoring students. They actually request that we not, and by they I mean reading A to Z, to just share them in. If you are like co-teaching or something like that, that's the best way to get kids that way, because they can be in 2 places at once. They can be with a classroom teacher and support staff. So if they get pulled for small group instruction, they could be with both Barbie and with Penny, so to speak. So, and the kids don't see any difference. They just get all the things in one place. So it's a really nice, helpful thing for them. So you can manage your classrooms as well. Let's see, by roster. I'm going to go to roster. Again, I want you to see where you can adjust and set your student levels. Some of the levels are from the last time they were in a building and the last time they might have possibly used this program, which may have been virtually, some kids never have been on the web version of it and they've only had the printable books from their teacher. So they don't really have a level set. So in order to do that, where it says general is here, where you just see like incentives, and you can very quickly turn off incentives for a student. So it's a very easy slider bar once they get in, so that you can take that away very quickly and just open it up on Fun Fridays or whatever works for you. Under this RAS Plus tab is where I can set different assignments, levels. So here, level up, this is the section that they read through to boost their reading level. The reading room are the books on their level range that they can just read that are set for their level. So let's talk about what that looks like. So for Caden, he's a level R, and I just click where I want his books because I want him to push himself to be at level R. Yes, this kid is really there. This kid is amazing. So I'm going to leave that here. When I go to the reading room, if I click on his name and then click the pencil, I get the option to customize and or turn that off. So you can have the reading room off if you'd like, or you can customize it. I will say, because of what we purchased, Spanish is defaulted on. So you have to physically go in and turn off the Spanish books for them, especially if they don't need that book in Spanish. It defaults to saying 3 levels below their student level and 2 levels above. I like to put it at 3. Or you can do a lock with a slider bar. I think that's more complicated because then you have to go in each time they adjust a level and you have to physically adjust that range. Whereas if I leave it here at the range that's set, it automatically, based on what they test at, will adjust what books are available for them. So I leave it at this range. So you're free to pick and choose. You can also choose what fiction series are available to them that are here. You can decide if you want them to have the graphic novels. Yes, Patrice, please just unmute and start talking. You can just stop me at any time.
How did you take off the Spanish? Because I'm not seeing how to take off the Spanish books.
No problem. So when I'm in that reading room, if I click here, the tab under Spanish, it probably is defaulted to on, because that's how it was for these guys. And then I just click that slidey bar off. Let's see. All right, hold on. So I'm under classroom roster, Raz Plus. I clicked, and you can select all students. You can do this one all at once. Once I have students selected, I click the pencil next to reading room and then customize.
Okay, thank you. I had misselected.
Oh, no worries. And I will go quickly, and I apologize. Oh, Kimberly. Kim, I would say Paula. To answer your question, Kim, about the password, it would be Paula. She will have that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, she definitely has that, and she can make sure you get one, because you can definitely use this with your pullout kids for sure.
You're talking Paula Brumfield?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you can adjust all of these things that are in here for them to see. You can turn them on or off as you see fit. So I'm just going to save and I'm going to cancel that because they had some different things for some reason. Okay. So that is how you adjust their reading levels physically. Now, in their assignments tab, I want to show you this real quick, and then we're actually going to go look. Actually, no, let's go look at resources. That was what my plan was, and we're going to stick to the plan. So when we find resources, and I know that you can get caught and spend a ton of time just playing around with that. Like we use it pretty much every day, and I can still just spend time looking at where things are in the managing the classroom for the kids. So we're going to look at how to find resources. We're going to look at how to assign something, and then we're going to come back and look at that assignment and what that looks like on the kids' end. So the resources that are available, there are leveled texts, there are benchmark assessments, there's focused instruction that can be done both in person and virtually. There are printables, there are graphic organizers, there are, you can create a file cabinet. I'm going to show you one that I have for our unit that we're doing now. And I can even share that with folks. So it's something that, like, if you're working as a team, you're all doing a project on the same content and you use this to find resources for research, you can find those books for research that match the content, that have the information your kids are researching, and share that with the others on your team that are using it, so they don't have to dig through and find those resources too. So let us go in and check out all of these resources. So in order to do that, I'm going to click over at the top where it says RAS Plus. It's kind of small up here at the top. We don't have Science A to Z or the others. So just so you know, if you click off, it's going to ask you to sign in. So right here under RAS Plus, and it's going to finish loading in just a second, you have the resources search bar. And you can see down here, there are all sorts of things. There is a refresher for them. This connected classroom is a paid resource that we don't have. Apparently they're charging for that, which, you know, why wouldn't they try to make money? There are some editable graphic organizers, and I'll show you how you can use these with the whole class and how I am using them with my students who are all virtual. That would also work with in-person kids as well with a program called Jamboard. So these resources here, if I click down, these are all of my options. So there is curriculum. There is a literacy curriculum for week by week. Who knew? Who knew? Week by week, everything you need. I have not played with that because we are doing, the kids wanted to learn about the solar system. So that's what we're learning about. That's all of our resources are coming from that. There's also some foundational skills. Here are your leveled texts. You have books and passages by content area, as well as additional sources like graphic novels and poetry. All sorts of wonderful things. And this is where I spend most of my time. The assessments are also very helpful. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. I actually gave them this week, last week into this week for just to see what that was like for them. And there are books which only go up to like a low second grade level, I believe. And these students are reading above that. So I went into something with a higher Lexile level. And then there are individual skills, some focused instruction, and everything with us with the space, the planet is assignable. So that's very helpful. There is some writing and vocabulary. There's some word work. There's some word sorts, which are really helpful. I just found those today. We're going to practice those. Because you can assign them and the kids can do them virtually. And then the add-ons at the bottom, we do not pay for. So just know, like, you click that, they're going to want to like, hey, sign up for a free trial. We don't have those. My best option, though, that I like to do is I just search by content area, because I tend to use this for research for what we're doing, the subject, and then pull the skills that way. So we've been doing solar system. Oh, and you have to hit enter. Sorry. Some of them I thought I hit enter. It's one that's definitely. So the first thing I always do when I search, because you'll notice the very first choice is Spanish. I click on advanced search, go to languages, and switch it to English. Then I don't need to see all of the other ones, because I don't want to confuse my kiddos and waste my time with looking through Spanish and try to translate. And then then on this page, so there are 45 things that have something to do with the solar system in this. And on the left, I can filter them by the learning A to Z level or by Lexile. I can also filter them by the resource type and if they are non-books or not. So that's really helpful. If I find a book that is useful, so I actually will look into this range that I don't already have added. Okay, I don't have this one. So here's a book. We'll go to Mysterious Mars, even though I already have that one. So when I click on that book, it tells me what level it is here at the top. It will tell me other formats if there are any. It'll tell me the languages, but it gives me some resources as well. So this book resource is the projectable, which you can project onto your, if you're using your Promethean board connected to your computer to do your streaming for your Zoom kids and your in-school kids. As long as you've extended your desktop, you can put the projectable onto your desktop, and that's the screen you're sharing to your students. Like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm sharing this screen on my second monitor. I can share this. My kids at home will see this, and my kids in the room would see this as well. They would see that too. And I can just go through and we can do our picture walk through this book, just like normal. Just like I would introduce, I can pull out vocabulary words. I can do all of that those pieces parts. And I can do this as a group together. And we're looking at that text. As the presenter, as the person in, I can annotate over this. I can highlight, there's a eraser. I can do those sorts of things. So that's one option that you have to work with your students with this particular book. It is also in a printable format. So this is what most people know about, is the printable, either as a single-sided book, a double-sided book, or a pocket book. And they tell you, they have instructions on the correct way to print it out because it is going different directions and you have to do it two-sided and all of that, but you can print them in color. It's happy. So the kids can have that physical book. The other thing that often gets forgotten is there are digital options for this book as well. There is a listen section. So you can assign this content to your students. You can assign it to them even if it's above their level, because they can listen to it. So they can have that paper copy, they can have that digital copy, all of that there, and listen to someone read it to them. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. Is there any way to turn off the listen? Because when I assign these books to my students, what I'm finding is some of them aren't trying to read it. They're just listening to it.
I'm going to show you how to do that. And I'm going to show you what you can do to track how they are actually reading it, because there's an option to record themselves in that piece. And that is something that I require of my kiddos. And because they are K and 1, they have Seesaw. So I actually have created a Seesaw assignment with the link to Clever for this. You could do the same thing if they're upper grades and link it into Google Classroom to Clever to find the app. But I will show you exactly how to do that because we're going to practice assigning something. There is, of course, this guided reading lesson. It's got to be downloaded. I'm not going to do all that. There, so that you can see step by step what to be done. They have the this one covers comprehension and story elements. So there's a worksheet to go along with that there. So you know that's what you're going to cover this time. There's a projectable on the grammar and the mechanics. So this one's focusing on conjunction. So there's a projectable to go along with that. And you can pull that out from the text. There are discussion cards and a paper copy of the comprehension quiz, as well as a projectable. And the projectable just looks like the digital version of it. I mean, not the digital, the paper version. It just looks like a worksheet. So that's what the quiz looks like. But this piece, so we have our digital preview. If you like this, if this is a thing that you wanted, you can also add this to your file cabinet. It could be that you're just looking for resources at this point or a skill at this point, and you want books to meet that skill. So you can click add to, and you can make either a new folder or have an existing folder in your file cabinet. This is my favorite part because I can go through and find resources and save them for later. Because if your brain's like mine, I'll see something, I'll tell myself, oh, I'm going to remember that. And then I don't remember that. Like, it's guaranteed if I tell myself I'll remember it, it didn't happen. This way I can just click that, click add my resource, and it's completely there. And you can see I already have 18 other resources in this file cabinet. So let's go take a look at that. Now I could assign that whole file cabinet to my kiddos, and I would never ever do that to a kindergartner, first graders, much less, anyone. That's too much, way too much. But this gives me all of those books that I've pulled out. They are on different reading levels. So some of them I do want them to actually just listen to or read to. So let's come to Pluto's New Friends, because that's the one we've been working on today. And you can see they all have this one. This one actually tells you what paired texts go with it, which is really helpful. I didn't know about this book, so I actually found it today. It gives you a guide for what all the story words are so that you can work on that vocabulary with them. So if I want to assign this, and this is going to get to Patrice's question, I can preview the listen. I can preview the read. So I can click on that. I can see it. I can look through this book just as the kids would. In fact, today I did the listen, even though that was an assignment for them. I actually clicked on the listen, and we listened to the book. We let her talk to the person read the book, and I stopped and we talked about it at different points because they seem to enjoy it when I am not the one reading to them. You know how kids are sometimes. So to assign this, when I come here, you have the option. The default is all the things are selected, but I can say, okay, they've already listened to this story. I want them to read it, and I want them to take the quiz. They've already listened to this story. I don't want that to happen anymore. This is where, and I will show you how to create different groups, because for some of that will be very helpful, whether you have your small group reading in class or you're meeting with different groups of kids or different even levels of kids. I'm actually going to assign this to my tester class because my kiddos have already done this part, and they will lose their minds when they log in and see that it's there. So I'm going to click the read and the quiz, and I'm going to click assign. And I've just made an assignment for those kids. That one student, my test account. If I had chosen everyone, or say I wanted to create another assignment, and I know that Maxwell needs to listen to that story again. He needs that. I can just assign listen to them as a separate assignment. So I can pick and choose what combination of things I want them to do. If I'm choosing a book that I want them to use for research because it's above their level, I can just choose listen, because I don't want them, they're just listening for information, because there are lots of great resources, but it might be above that grade level, because a lot of the really good content stuff is like 4th, 5th, 6th grade. So this would be a way to give kids that accessibility. They can hear the information, and we all know that their listening comprehension is higher than their reading comprehension. They can still get the facts that they need to do whatever research you want them to do. All right, so I'm going to cancel this out. That is the easiest part of assigning the virtual work. So let's take a quick pop over. I am going to come over and show you the student side of what this is very quickly. Oh, hold on. I got to log out. It still remembers me from tab to tab, which can be helpful, but right now is not. Let's try this again. No, come on. There it is. And welcome to our new friends. I'm so glad you're here. So this is what the kids see when they log in for the first time. You'll notice there is the level up section that has books that as they read through, I think it's about 44 books that push their level, but that are on their level to help them build up their abilities. The reading room is way more open with way more. This is where you find the books that are below their level as well as above their level, which is really, for them, a little bit more self-selection. For my students, I have used this. We did a seesaw assignment where they just had to go to Level Up and choose any book they wanted, and they had to listen to it and record themselves reading it and answer the questions if they were there, because I wanted that accountability of them reading. So this was me having to show them how to record in this, and I will show you how to do that too. So you can show your kids. So here's our assignment. This pod disappears when their assignments are complete. And when we assign a benchmark, or if it's their very first time ever, they will have a rocket here called a flight check. So you can periodically assign a flight check to see what their level is. You pick what passage, you pick what reading level, and that student will have that assigned to them. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And then the star zone is where they go to play, to spend whatever points they have. But to get the points, they have to read and answer questions and listen to stories. So I have no points. There's nothing I can get. I've already spent my points. So in my assignments, they will see their single assignments. This is the same whether they are kindergarten or 5th grade. And my test account only has one assignment. My other kiddos have more. So you'll see I have the ability to read this book, and I have the ability to answer the questions. If I had the ability to listen, if I had assigned the listening to them, then it would not have, it would have had the microphone as well. So it defaults with the read. It will not let them take the quiz until they've read it. Now, you'll notice at the top of this screen, there are some icons. There is a microphone. There's some drawing tools, some notes, and a journal. The kids can make notes and journals. They can record themselves. And this is the thing that I require. This is the thing I said, this is how you do it. They didn't even know there's an option not to record it, basically. So when I click recorder, the very first time it will ask them to allow their microphone. So I highly recommend when you do this with students, get one of your kiddos to share their screen and you talk them through this. Like one of your kids who follows directions really, really well, one of your kids, who hasn't really been in it, and talk them through. Say, go to Clever, do this. They love being in control. They love thinking they're the co-teacher for the day. They will eat this up, I promise you. So you click on this microphone. Right now it's not recording. And then they click the round circle, and it's going to see, it says use your microphone. I'm going to click allow. You definitely want to prepare them for that. So you'll notice it's counting down. The first time they're going to flip out. Caden lost his mind when it went to the red section, and he spent 3 minutes trying to make it red because he's 5. And that's, what a 5-year-old does. But what they do now is they click next, and it records them as they read. Brag and tag. Pluto loved to play the brag and tag game with the other planets. He wanted to brag about being the smallest planet. He hoped someone would call on him to brag soon. So I'm going to stop. It actually makes you read all the way through, but I am not going to do that. Subject you to Pluto's new friends right now. But so this is they need to record themselves all the way. They can play it back and they can listen to themselves read. So this is a really good thing to get them, because kids need to hear themselves read. They think they are reading super fluently and they don't hear that they're pausing. So this is a great way, even if we're all back to normal, like this is an amazing way for kids to record themselves reading, to hear themselves reading, and to work on building that fluency. Because we all know if they don't hear it, they think they're doing great. So this is another way to make that happen. So I'm going to click back to my assignment. Once they have done that record reading, oh, it gave me some stars. Looky loo. Nope, it did not. It's bookmarked me. It knew. So it's really smart. It knows it's not going to let me take that quiz yet until I have recorded myself reading and spent time. So Patrice, that's one way to get that accountability piece from them, is to show them how to record themselves, because then, hey, you reading it only counts if Miss Barner gets to hear you read it. Like, you're going to read to Miss Barner and I'm going to get a chance to listen to you this afternoon. And that's the only way you're going to get credit for that. Right. So, and they're going to tell you and leave you messages. I guarantee it. They're going to, like, because they know that you're going to be able to hear it and hear them. So they're going to do that for you. So now I want to take you back and show you what that looks like on the teacher side of how you will see that when you are on your teacher side. So I'm going to come over here to my roster. And you'll notice here at the top, I've got my reports, which are very helpful. I actually have a notification that Caden has missed vocabulary on like the last 6 things he's done. So I am taking some time to go back, and we are going to go over and spend some more time with vocabulary. I also think he's just rushing through because he was mad at me yesterday, but that's, your students, so kind of what they need and what's really going on. So I can see a nice report of how many stories he's listened to, how many he's read, how he's done the quizzes. And he has 14 because he's the kind of kid that when he doesn't get something right and doesn't pass it, he wants to keep doing it until he gets it right. I can look at the skills that have been done. I get a nice report on those sorts of skills just for Caden. Oh, this is overall, this is all, but I can pick and choose. I can go to individual assignments and I can see that he listened to and read. I can see that he did 6 out of 10 on the quiz, which was 2 days ago, 3 days ago. So I can see what he chose and why he chose it. We can talk about that. Under assessments, I can look just for Caden. He did a running record and he got mad and didn't finish it. And I can look at level progress. If I come straight to assignments, I will see like the list of things that were assigned. I can view by student. And this is where I can quickly assign an assessment. So you'll notice under this assignments, view by student, I can choose assign an assessment. That's a quick way to assign a benchmark for students. So when I click on this, I can choose, which one of the ones that I want. Most likely it will be a running record, but you might also want to test their high frequency words if it's a kindergarten or a first grader, or those most common words. And the nice thing about this is both there is a printout copy, so they could have a paper copy in front of them. If this is a virtual student, you can assign that. They can go here. You can be in a meeting with them and you can listen to them while they do it, but the computer will capture it. So you have like this physical record of what they did. So to click that running record, you can pick what level you want. and you just click on, and you can have multiple levels. So you can look at, if you hover over it, it'll tell you like what the Lexile level is, that sort of thing. You select it and then click assign, and you choose which students you want to have that benchmark. So then again, you can either choose all of them, one or two of them, and they'll get that flight check when they come in. But this is not something I would just do to do. I would definitely, you want students to, you want to be in that one-on-one situation with them the first time you do this with them, so they know what it is they're supposed to do. Just like you would do a running record with them in person, you would have that one-on-one time with them where you say, you're going to, I want to hear you read. I want to see how, what you think about this passage, whatever it is. And for this, they have a passage they read. They have a section that they retell what they read in the passage, and then they have questions. So they will need to record themselves 2 times for this. They record themselves reading the passage, and then they record their read aloud what they think happened in the story. So let's go to the in basket so you can see, because I do have some examples of that for you that are awaiting review. So we have 3 running records here. Let's take a look at Maxwell. So I can, it looks just like PALS. I'm not gonna lie. This looks just like PALS, the paper copy that you print out. It has the passage. You make a line, you make a note as they go through when you press play. Did I not hit it? Because we read this together. Huh. Are y'all hearing anything on your end? No. Is the volume down? Huh. Of course. In basket. I know Kaden did. And I was with them for both of them, of course. All right.
When you were in Zoom, though, Susanna, did you click on the little button that said share my sound from my computer for videos?
Yes. But it's not even playing on my end, so I don't know what's happening. It's just,
that stinks.
It does. I promise you it does play for them. It does, because I have looked back and listened to these. I don't know if it's just cranky because Zoom is running, but these are great and helpful. So I'm sad that you can't listen to these right now. So you can also look by just assessment type, by practice recordings, and by their constructed response. So this is today. Maybe this will work. Cadence practice recording. Oh, this is breaking my heart because I wanted you guys to be able to hear them read. Oh, wait. It's got to be something for Zoom because this works. I swear it works. Please don't judge based on the fact that it's not working right now. I promise you it works. So you can listen to them. You can type them a message about what they read. So you can send them a little message that they will receive the next time they sign in. You can award them bonus stars for doing this that they then spend to build in the Rocket Room. You can download the MP3 so that you can listen to it. So if you do need to have evidence for child study or something like that, this would be a way to provide that. I am completely bummed because I have practiced this week in anticipation of this for us to be able to hear the kids read. So I'm super bummed that it's not working now. And I can only think it's because of Zoom. I don't know. I did not practice it while in a Zoom meeting. So maybe that was the problem.
Susanna,
Yeah, what, Barbie?
they have cut the lights off on me, so they're getting ready to lock the building. I have to go.
Okay, I'm going to keep recording and I'll share it with you. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So, but if I go back to my baskets, I can see their questions that they've answered. So let's see, Isaac's constructed response. I can look at his scores. He got them all correct. So I can see what he chose. What if he got it wrong, it would have put an X beside it like we saw with Caden. If I can, do you think Pluto will be happy with his new friends? Why or why not? I can give him bonus points for that. I can send him a message. I can give him bonus points. I can do all of that for him and save that. And he will get notified of that. So it's a really nice way to give feedback and messages back. Okay. And this is all found under your in basket here under awaiting review. And you just have to make sure it defaults to showing only the assessments. You have to make sure that each one of those are checked so you see all the choices. Let's see where we are in our slide deck and what we have left to cover. We have covered assigning work and where to find that. We've taken a look at the student view and what the kids see. Remember, they get to that from Clever, no matter what. We've looked at reviewing the student work. I am so bummed that they're not playing for us. I've been testing them, so I'm really upset for that. So using it in a hybrid model, this is the I'm sure you guys have already started thinking of ways that you can use this while both you have kids in person and at home. Key of all would be if you use your Promethean board as your second desktop and extend whatever projectables are there, project the book, project the graphic organizers, any of the word cards, any of those things, and allow students to see that as well, both at home and in Zoom. You can send home paper copies of the book and then also have them work in the program. That's what I have done with my kiddos. There was a St. Patrick's Day mystery. I printed it off, made copies, and when we delivered supplies, it was in there, and we read that book for the week, and we went through it, and we did both activities online and both activities in the program, as well as just together with the book. You can pull them into breakout rooms and do that one-on-one. This is great for like a specialist or a TA to work with one student to get those running records. The supplemental materials are there. One thing that I have done, and we're actually going to do this tomorrow, we use Jamboard a lot in my class. It's just easy. It's a way for us to collaborate because we're all in different places. So tomorrow, this is actually one of the worksheets from the Pluto Pluto's New Friends book on proper nouns. I did a screenshot of it and I made it as a background in Jamboard so that tomorrow, when we are all together again, they are going to, and they join every day. We use this for writing. My kids use this all the time. This is where we do super sentences pretty much every single day, where we take a picture and we brainstorm nouns, verbs, adjectives, location, and time for each picture that we do. And then they write about it. But this, we will use the circle tool. So I'll have them each get a different color circle. That's the way, and that's the benefit of just a small group. If this were a full class, I would have one page for each kid. I would do, the 20 with the same thing on each one so that they would all have their own and we could talk and do it together, or in small groups, like 3 or 4 kids on a slide with each their own color. So that they'll make a circle and they will draw and do this. So this is one way that you can have that activity. You can do that in Jamboard. So your in-person kids can join, your at-home kids can join, and they're all working together, but we're going over proper nouns. It's the content, it's the skill, but they're all able to work together. We're also going to do our graphic organizer for main idea in details, which is another skill that goes along with that story. And I took a screenshot of the PDF and uploaded as the background in Jamboard by clicking set background and clicking right here and uploading. So, what are your ideas? I know you guys have tons more ideas because I'm still teaching virtually, not with the hybrid, because all of my kids are virtual. What other ideas do you guys have about how this could be used in this hybrid thing that we're doing? Any thoughts, any ideas?
I've been using this since, I started with the paper before this year. And this year, at the beginning of the year, I was sending the books home. And Miss Green was so gracious. She was running them for us. But once the kids realize that they can do it online, they don't want the paper books anymore. They don't want to use the paper books anymore. Now that I realize I can turn off listen, I'm going to be turning listen off, because I have a couple of students who won't try. They'll just immediately listen to the book. I do like the vocabulary. I like that they can highlight the words. Like if they get really stuck on a word, they can highlight the word and it'll tell them just what that one word is.
Sure.
It has been more difficult with some of them at home and some of them here to do groups.
Yeah, I don't envy that. Bless you.
But we're working through that part.
Right. Yeah, that was definitely something I thought about until I realized that they were all going to stay home and like either daycare or home. Because my hat's off to you is all I'm going to say. It's amazing what y'all are doing. We are so lucky we have our reading specialists here. Ladies, do you guys have any thoughts, ideas, suggestions? I know this is like your jam.
Well, tomorrow, Mrs. Hahn and I are going to be talking about child study and interventions and that sort of thing. So this will definitely be part of the discussion. So you have shared some things that I did not know that are in this program. So we can discuss some of these things. Like, for example, the running record where you could do a printout and share it at a child study meeting, something like that. So we will definitely talk about it tomorrow, and I'm sure she'll be in agreement with me.
Yeah, this is pretty amazing stuff. I had no idea that it had this much capability. We also need to make sure, and we're going to connect with Paula Brumfield, because Deborah and Kim right now do not have access.
Okay. Yeah, definitely reach out to her. I sent her an email today and I think she's out of the office, but don't let that till Monday, but don't let that stop you from sending her an email and saying, hey, I want this. I need this. I had actually done and started a running record with one, and maybe it's something with the internet. Maybe it's just finally given up the ghost today. Like I had good luck this morning in a 9th grade class, whereas the other day, or the 10th grade class, whereas the other day, my presentation took 11 minutes to load with a bunch of 10th graders. You don't know fear and angst until you're in a class full of 10th graders and nothing works. Nothing worked. I believe, let's see, Caden did. Oh, he was so mad at me about it too. Where was it? Let's say it was here.
How old are these kids?
Caden is just turned 5. He turned 5 in July, and Maxwell and Isaac are first graders. So they are like 7. Yeah, they are, yeah. So
They are beyond high flyers.
They are like amazing kids. Like they are, and this was just a way that I could kind of help with that, because like they weren't getting what they needed in the classroom.
Because they were above and beyond everybody else.
Hayden is reading and comprehending when like you have we're still learning this program, so that's not like reflective of what he knows. He's like reading fluently around a 6th grade level.
Wow.
Yeah, he'll be at Carter G in a couple years. Like I'm not lying, in like 2 years he'll be there. Oh, here we go. So here is his running record. And I was able to, he actually didn't have any errors. So there was nothing I could mark. But when you click on the thing, you just click on the word and you say what it was.
That's what she said, yeah.
Which is really helpful. I mean, it really is just like PALS, at least the last time I did PALS, which was paper pencil, because I've been out of the classroom for like 5 years, but it's just like the paper pencil version, and it calculates the math for you, which is my favorite part. So,
yeah.
But you can print the results. You can download the audio so the parent can hear that. Like that's, yeah. So that just brings some extra evidence to, you know, or even like student-led conferences, you know, the kids would be able to like, hey, I really want to have this. This is a really good record of me reading. And Patrice, for your kiddos who aren't reading, I love, or who are skipping the reading part, when they do that recording piece, they can listen to themselves read it and hear, if they press that green triangle before they submit it, they can listen to themselves read. And, you know, like I've always found like when I could, I'm going to date myself, but when I had like a tape recorder in the classroom, the kids, and they could hear themselves read, they'd just be like, what? I sound like that? Because they didn't realize they were taking so long to read something that pushed them to do more. So this is like a really cool way to get back to that without having to like find a cassette tape in 2021. But yeah, this has been one of my favorite programs for quite a few years, with all that's available, that it's almost overwhelming how much is here. Because they're the books, they're the graphic organizers, there's the whole curriculum, there's even project ideas, not to mention like you can like all the resources for a project. My kids are obsessed with space. Like in February, they heard about Mae Jemison. We learned about her and that was it. They were like, we want to learn more about space. We love it. It's our favorite thing. So that's literally all we're doing right now. And we're hoping to make an app about space. That's what we're doing. That's our project. But we're in the process. We have a book we're making. On like astronomers, astronauts, and mathematicians. We're making a solar system book, and we're going to combine all of that information to make an app, basically a Bitmoji classroom that they can you can click to learn about all the different people. Because that's what they wanted. And this has been very helpful with all the resources. are there questions? Are there things that you have thought about that I have not thought about? Are there things that you need me to explain again? That again, there is so much here. It is, I may have left something out. I may have skipped over something that you thought was super, super important, but anything that I can answer for you.
I have a quick question.
Loud, sorry.
You can go.
Loud part, can it only like reads it all the way through. You can't like click on a word and have it read one word to you, can you?
Yeah, Patrice says like it will, if you, not in the listen section, but in the read section, that's right, Patrice? If they click on a word that they're stuck on, it will say that word for them.
Ah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then my question was, I heard you say that for the listen part, you can, like if you wanted them to be able to have the audio, you can assign it to them. Can you mix and match it for different kids? Can you assign it to some and not others? Okay. Did I miss that? That was my bad.
No. And so this is the only tricky thing that I have found. And there, maybe when you dig around, you'll find a way around it. But let me go to and show you when I've had to do that, because like Caden doesn't need to listen to the book. Caden can just read the book. Right. Maxwell and Isaac sometimes need that listen first before they read. And so what I have found that I have to do in that situation is, come on. Is when I go to assign it, I have to do it twice. So all of the kids that would get the listen, the read, and the quiz, you would assign it to them.
Right.
And click assign. And you can set a due date, but I'm not, you might need to, Mandy, because you teach a little bit older kids and they might need that due date. But for the age that these kids are, I don't do that. And I have to assign. Then once that's assigned, I have to do that a second time for the kids who don't need that listen.
Okay. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So, and I mean, you might have kids that like, if they listen to it, they're not going to read it. Like, they're just like, I've already done this. I'm not doing this twice. But there are times when maybe it's the content that you want. You don't need them to read it themselves. You don't need them to record themselves reading. That you just want them to listen to that. Now, I will say, and this is something we learned today, once it's been assigned to them and they've gone through all the parts that you've assigned, they can't get that story back. So if you just assign listen to them and they need that for research, but they don't finish that research, you have to reassign it to them.
Okay.
That was something that I was talking to Isaac today and said, hey, can you get back to this book? Because he was my co-pilot today. He was my co-host, loving his life, having control. And he was going to share his screen for that book, but he couldn't get to it again because he had completed all the steps. So that's something to keep in mind.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah. And you can deselect this constructed response too. So it's a one question where they have to actually type sentences to answer. If you deselect that, it's all multiple choice. So this is one way to get in something where they have to go a little bit beyond. But yeah, so that's the one downfall I've seen, is that I can't, like, in that one assigned screen, like, hey, these 3 kids get these 2 things. These 3 kids get all 3 things. I can't mix and match that way. You have to do it multiple times. And just to make sure, your file cabinet can be shared. I don't know if I know I said that, but I didn't show you that. So you can make a folder, any folders in your file cabinet that you want here. And then, so that gives you the list. But when I click on more actions, I have the option to share it here. And I can share it with specific teachers. So that's how you could, if you're, maybe you're doing a project on space and you wanted all the resources that I'd found, I could share that with you right now. So you wouldn't necessarily have to spend as much time digging around for resources, right? So it's a great way to kind of share back and forth. Now you then have to that person has to go to their file cabinet. They don't get like an email notification that, hey, Susanna shared a folder with you. It would just appear in the ones that have been in this shared files section. And then just to make sure, you can make groups within your class. So from your class roster, if I click just these names, so if I click, 3 names, this pops up now. So I can hit edit. And give them their group name. And, some teachers use candy bars or, whatever it is. When I click add, they have all been added to that group. So then when I go to assign something, I can assign to a group or individual students. So like Mandy, Patrice, if you've got 5 or 6 kids that are in that one reading group together, they have a name, even if it's just group 1, however you deal with groups or did in the before times. You could name them that. They won't see that, but you will. So you could assign all of those settings at that time. Like, hey, this group is always going to have to listen and record themselves reading and take the quiz. This particular group, depending on the book, that might speed things up a little without having to click. So you can give that. And then for our our reading specialist folks, if you can pull your kids across all different grades. So say, Linda, you work with 3rd, 4th, and 5th, you pull all of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders you work with into a class, and then you can separate them out by, these are all my 3rd graders. These are all my 4th graders. These are all my 5th graders, so that they're in that one classroom for you, but they are, grouped by how you pull them.
Is there a reason I would do that rather than creating different classes?
So I don't know. So here's the thing. No, actually, I do know that answer. So when I click manage classrooms, because I am not the teacher of record, even though I am a co-teacher in Kelly Harefield's class to have access to those students, you'll notice I don't have any kids because I'm not a teacher of record.
Okay.
So I just have a roster of kids, so that, because I've shared them in from other rooms, I can't transfer them into, even though they don't go to Kelly for reading, they come to me for reading. They don't, that would mess everything up at the district level, because it's automatically synced through Clever. That's handled that way. So that's just the easiest way I have found. And you can change your view, so it almost becomes like classes. You can just, from this way, you're viewing all students, I can just view hey, these are my 3rd graders today. And then when it's time for your, you work with your 4th graders, you click that group name, so on forth. So, and then of course, the classroom teachers, you work your magic, however it works for you guys, because they will be in your classroom themselves. That's self. Okay. Are there any other questions? I have talked for a whole lot of time. is there anything more you need me to answer? I can answer, or that you know that I don't know that you think we ought to add for folks? Because it's felt like Patrice has been using this since the beginning of the year and her kids love it, or at least tolerate it.
Do they still have books that are on multiple levels of the same title? Yeah. So that's a really good thing, Mandy. If you've got kids that you want them to read the same stuff, but they don't have the same readability, you can assign. I mean, some are definitely better than others, but most of their nonfiction is wonderful. The fiction can get a little dorky for the older kids. It's not so bad at the lower level, but at the older, yeah, it can get a little
And I will say the really nice thing about it being online, I think, is that the kids don't see what books other kids have. Whereas when you're printing them out, they kind of see that and they see the book, but with this, it's like, oh, that's my reading room. That's my level up. They don't necessarily see as much. And then you can provide that support if you're using a higher level book with the audio read aloud piece, that they can all be in the same book too, but have that read. So I think that I really, that kind of takes away a bit of that stigma too. But yes, they do still have different books. It's been harder to notice when like we're working in some of the second and third grade books, and that's harder to see, at least for the topics that we're doing, I guess, because space, it's just like a lot of higher level stuff. I don't know. Because the lower grade stuff is just too low grade for them. These kids already know all these facts about the planets. So it's like, yeah. So, all right. Well, if there are no more questions, if I've covered everything you need, I thank you for your time. You guys have been amazing. Thank you for coming this time of day on a Thursday when it's been the rainiest week.
Yeah, thank you. It was helpful.
Good. Hopefully this gives you some ideas. Hopefully Patrice, they'll like it a little bit better, especially with that recording. I'm curious to know what they think about that when you show them how to do that.
I'm going to introduce that tomorrow and we'll see how it goes.
I think it's all in how you play it. When you're like, I think if you spin it to the like, Miss Barner wants to just be able to listen to you read, and this is your reading. I'm the only one that's going to hear it. It's like a little love letter to Miss Barner.
Because they record on Seesaw all the time. So it should be easy for them to catch on to.
Yes. And like I said, I can actually show you. This is the one I just made an assignment. So this is their page. This is Max's actually. I put the link for the icon for Clever because I wanted them to know, but they've been trained to. I train them. You go to Clever, you click on this, but it's the direct link. I told them what book, like where to choose their book from, and I gave them a space to write their title so that they would write the title. This was for Level Up. Like there's some, it's just go to Level, pick whatever book interested them, read it, listen to it, take the quiz, put the title, all of that. So this is what they did. And that's what I created as their assignment, so that because they're used to going to Seesaw to record the things anyway. So this was how I could still, they knew to do it, because if it's not in Seesaw, I don't know about yours, but they won't do it if it's not in Seesaw. So this way they had something in Seesaw to see, something in Seesaw to type, and they could, put their check to submit it, which made them happy. And I recommend, Mandy, like for doing something similar in Google Classroom, like that direct link, go here, show the picture. And that's just honestly, I think I Googled Clever logo and the PNG, and I just right clicked and saved it to my desktop so that it's right there so that I can quickly put it into assignments. And I did the same thing for the Reading A to Z logo, because they'll look for the visual, you know, how they are. So
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll definitely have to do that on Google Classroom.
yeah. And you know, you can use emojis in Google Classroom too, Mandy, right? If you do that emojipedia.com,
Uh-huh.
you can, so like
Oh, that's what you showed us on the drive, the Google Drive.
yes,
Yes.
you
when
can use
you're
them in
organizing.
Classroom too. Yes.
Right.
So like in the assignments, yes. So I put the listen to it, put the books, you know, keep them.
Perfect.
Well, thank you, ladies. Patrice, I can't wait to hear how it goes. If you get a little bit better with them recording themselves, I'm super excited to see how that goes. And if there are no more questions, thank you so much. It was great seeing you guys. Let me know if you have any other questions or something awesome you want to share, and have a great rest of the week.
Thank you. Bye,
Bye.
guys.